that's able to ult trek, especially against EMPs. Your Lucio has to be the #1 person who gets away from the EMPs, out of line of sight. You know, your Transcendence, you'd like to keep that, but Barrier, most likely the one hiding away. Speaking of which, it's going to be the attack from GC Busan Wave with the Somber Goats again.
And we will see GC Busan Wave looking to try to get intel on GeekStar's position, and we see the Diva actually down on the low ground because they can actually contest Edison on Sombra, do some spy checking before going back up to the high ground. So they do see that Edison is on this Sombra. Now they have to start really focusing on making sure that they could insulate their backlines, particularly who on the Zenyatta here. He's going to be quite vulnerable if Edison isn't just going to farm his ult against the Diva instead.
And in case you thought you had to replug in your headset, yeah, there's no sound and space even in the game. But first pick for the offense. They do now move on towards the point, but there's still a high ground advantage for GeekStar, who lost Leo again so early. This has been the Rhine duel you have to watch out for between these two teams. And within the first fight, GC Busan Wave will get point A.
GeekStar just falling right over. Huge pick onto who to get the 6v5 advantage. And playing off of that, now GC Busan Wave will have a pretty good advantage to push into point B with. They want to just go in there, try to assert their dominance, get a good position to start things off, and allow for Edison to get into the backline a little bit, start putting pressure down into Who once again, build into the EMP, and open up that opportunity for Ion to just lay everybody to the floor.
And having to keep your ultimates, not having to spend anything is so important. Big snowball potential here, although playing passive as usual. It will be on the back of this EMP. They know GeekStar's on the high ground, and they get a free kill onto Leo. Where's the peel? Where is the protection for your main tank, the most important person on the team? And not a single ultimate besides a rally has been used from this offense. We'll get their first tick. Respawns are close from GeekStar, not able to move because of that grab from Free that came out. And this just looks like easy mode for GC Busan Wave.
Yeah, absolutely. They still have the EMP available if they need to utilize that, but Gibulshi is just not quick enough to even make it to the point, and Edison really kind of there to shut Leo down as quick as they possibly could, and by creating yet another advantage through an early fight pick, they're able to capture, you know, both points really right after the other.
I'd love to see how Ion died. Maybe not this replay, but Ion, how he got bursted down instantly from Edison and the rest of the team coming towards the high ground. It's GeekStar had a miscommunication of, are we dropping to the low ground? What is going on? Was the Zarya bubble, projected bubble, used too early? A lot of questions that I have, but because Leo dropped that early, that was a free fight win for GC Busan Wave, who could just grab the rest of the team and run through them.
Yeah, we see Edison just pushing out so much pressure, getting the hacks off, diving into the backline, putting pressure on Who, offering up opportunities where even Delight on the break can kind of just get in there, get aggressive in his positioning as well, and go for picks. GeekStar, they need to make sure that they're staying safe. I mean, that's what we've seen throughout this matchup, is both of these teams playing very defensively, playing as safe as they possibly can, not wanting to give anything up to their opponents. And it's really just kind of that swing first meta, no you swing first meta, right? I mean,
No,
that's effectively what we've seen, where both teams are just waiting for the others to make a mistake. But time and time again, it seems like GC Busan Wave are the ones punishing GeekStar.
Kind of interesting to have a scout out here, or maybe Delight's going for a little jog out in space.
Boing.
Held his breath long enough. Cool. Now on the attack, you know, usual Rhine goats. Sometimes you see GeekStar run the Winston to be able to infiltrate that high ground a lot easier. Now they're forced to take the staircase or on the left side approach.
We're going to see them find out soon that Edison is on that Sombra. He's already kind of contesting from the high ground, putting pressure down onto the tank line. See them actually not going out towards space just yet. They're actually going to go up the staircase and put the pressure on early.
Oh, Ion went for a pretty risky pin, I believe, and he got the bubble, surviving, but displacing the main tank and just all around disrupting a very narrow push coming out from GeekStar. It would be a reset.
That should have been an advantage to GeekStar, though. I mean, Edison wasn't really in that fight very early on, and you know, 6v5 advantage for them if they take that aggressively and they're able to keep Leo safe. But as Leo came up the staircase, Ion just got all the advantage in the world because Leo was pretty exposed and they couldn't relieve the pressure from him. You can see Yum1 and Leo, they don't have high ult charges because they weren't able to be put into a position where they could play a little bit more aggressively and push out that damage and force that space for the team.
Oh, the same thing is happening. A bit of deja vu. Ion goes for the pin with the bubble, but not getting the finish he's looking for. They take a step back, but baiting them right into a shot if he's not careful. Great boot from Waffle, displacing Ion onto the low ground. And that, well, Leo doesn't have a shatter. He died too early last time, but they do get their feet wet on the point. GC Busan up against a wall. They use the Edison EMP and a Graviton from Free. There was a counter self-destruct there from Gabe Bolshi, but the kills do not convert. They will be GC Busan Wave that do take the fight, but at least the silver lining is GEEKSTAR got rid of a lot of ultimates from the other side.
Yeah, and we'll see GEEKSTAR coming back into this, but you know, do they have enough options available? They weren't able to pull out Daydream or Fielder support ults, so they're at a disadvantage in that capacity, and if they can't convert kills quickly in this next fight, you're really just offering up opportunity for GC Busan Wave to build yet again into their 3 first ultimates, Ion, Free, and Edison, that you see on the screen there, that consistently win fights for them. So GEEKSTAR, they know this completely, and who actually is going to go over to the Ana just to answer that holistically by being able to shut down Fielder's ultimate just by denying all the healing.
And also that Edison translocated out so quick as soon as he saw Who on the Ana, because so many times Edison has been slept by Who, and that would be a death sentence right there. A bump in the head, but a barrier to save at least GEEKSTAR for the moment. And a responding rally from GC Busan Wave for trying to occupy the space. And now Transcendence kind of early in this fight. And now in response, the Graviton will be used from Yumwon. And not really anything to save GC Busan Wave, although they are responding in the kill feed. Very high energy for Free means he's melting everyone from the other team, and a great boop once again from Waffle, displacing the entire front line from the high ground.
Well, a smart disengage from GC Busan Wave here. If they're able to take the high ground away, which I'm not sure if they're going to be able to, they're going to contest it anyways though with the grab.
A great grab, and not the same efficiency you saw from Yumwon. They had used the grab in that last fight, even a self-destruct and some other things, and they did not take that as handily as GC Busan Wave did.
And on top of that, Edison has yet another EMP and nothing to defend with if you're GEEKSTAR. Even if you keep Waffle out of the fight, there's no sound barrier to utilize. So that's going to be a pretty tough situation to be in. If we can see Waffle, Yumwon get caught, everybody's going to get caught.
Oh no, and look at the response. You see Busan Wave diving into their faces and finishing off the fight. It's efficiency right there. Now 15 seconds left for GEEKSTAR to get on the point and take it, while GC Busan Wave finish with 6 minutes. This is so one-sided.
Yeah, and GC Busan Wave are just taking this with a smile on their face right now. Waffle taking down already, 65 advantage. No one even close to the point at all. And that's a full hold from GC Busan Wave to not only win the map, but the series along with it.
That's tough. I mean, we've seen them run Leo on Winston before, because their presence on the high ground is what the problem was, and especially against Edison on the Sombra. Maybe trying to force a fight into a smaller area that thought maybe the Sombra won't appear there, but they had such troubles just getting to the high ground, and then they used so many ultimates in fights that they never won. It was a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, once you get that high ground, you have to make sure that you can push your enemy off of it. They had a couple of displacements, boops from the Lucio that threw everybody off, but they had already lost bodies at that point, and you're seeing the defense rotate back in. GC Busan Wave getting the advantage in that capacity, and even being able to shift the momentum back in their favor with things like a Graviton, Earth Shatter combos coming out as well to be able to secure those fights and retake high ground control. Realistically, that was just all about high ground control, and GC Busan Wave had it basically throughout the entire match.
Tremendous value from the ultimates of GC Busan Wave. We still have another map to go, Junkertown, to see if GEEKSTAR can get rid of that goose egg. We'll see you guys in a bit. The series is at a close. GC Busan Wave take the win, but we still have one more map to go. As GEEKSTAR will drop to 2-5, but map differential matters so much. This map win could mean playoffs or not, as we will find out. I mean, at least tomorrow, how the standings will shape up. And it's crazy to see here in the final week that nothing really is decided.
Yeah, nothing's decided, and we're gonna have to wait till really tomorrow, maybe even that final game tomorrow as well. Probably not the final game, but we'll have to see depending on how things settle with Element Mystic. Not even just to determine who's gonna make it, but also where they're gonna, land. I think certainly some of the things are gonna be decided today. We'll maybe have an idea, but yeah, it's going to take basically all the games throughout the entire course of the season and all of the last day and everything to be able to decide who's going and where are they playing, who are they playing in the playoffs, where are they going to match up.
Yeah, Runaway, Gen G, and Element Mystic are the top 3 teams currently locked in. Runaway nicely sitting undefeated 6-0, 20-5. That's insane, but the fact that Gen G is also in second place over Element Mystic has been probably a pleasant surprise to most, but we'll see tomorrow how the seedings change up, because it's also important to be in first and second because you get guaranteed semis instead of quarters.
Yeah, and that's something that's interesting as well because, Gen G is playing a matchup tomorrow that they are, or sorry, today rather, just coming up next, that they should have an advantage, but depending on how that goes and depending on how Runaway versus Element Mystic goes, we could see that flop around too. I mean, there's just so much that could happen between now finishing up the first game of day 1 of week 7 till, 3 games from now. That's all we have. And there's still so much that could change. But we first go into Junkertown. Again, map differential is such a big factor here, especially for a team that takes a loss, which of course is going to be GEEKSTAR. They have to turn things around here if they want any shot at all of being able to get into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, let me get my stats book out, everybody. GC Busan Wave are 0-2 on Junkertown. And also who they've lost against, Element Mystic, okay, that's fine. But they've lost to MVP, who are at the bottom of the standings. So losing Junkertown to a bottom team, I'm a little bit worried about GC Busan Wave. While as GEEKSTAR, they're 1-1. They won against WGS, lost to Gen G. So maybe you're favoring GEEKSTAR to have an advantage here, especially if the GC Busan Wave are maybe weaker on this map.
We'll see them push into Junkertown, where we've seen a lot of different interesting takes throughout the course of the season. I mean, we've seen DPS looks. We even saw, I believe it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the week before that, where we saw, 5 DPS being played. We've seen Widow Goats being played. There's so many different things that teams have tried on this map, and a lot of them have actually worked. So it's just a question mark of, what do these teams want to pull? Are they going to get flashy? Are they going to be playing something more consistent, a more mainstay, where we could see, Orisa, double snipers, things of that nature, things that we've seen historically on this map.
And speaking substitution, wow, a lot coming in from GC Busan Wave. They have Delight, or maybe Delight was there. But, oh, there you go. Thank you. I need the graphic, because who is missing? Ritz coming in as the Zarya player, over free. And you have Junggu, who now comes in for Ion, who, from what we've seen before here, Junggu usually comes in to play Hammond, and now he's going to be sporting the Reinhardt. Hey.
Yeah, he typically does come in for their Hammond, and in some cases we can see him playing stuff like Winston. He's a very aggressive tank, known for playing those roles and being proficient at them. But yeah, playing the Reinhardt here is an interesting look. But hey, given that they're playing Ritz here, we're going to see some DPS play coming out from GC Busan Wave, and here it is. It's actually potentially the Widow Goat setup, but Edison looking like he's going to swap here, probably to the Sombra, and there it is.
Interesting. They almost went for the double sniper. That's why I forgot about Delight. He's been stuck in brick jail. Almost teased me with the Hanzo. But now matching the Ana to Ana. Fielder swapping that up. So Ana Goats from at least the offense. They'll set up on the high ground. At least you'd want to put Fielder there. Have a better angle for those anti-nades.
Oh, that was such a good fire strike from Junggu. He was able to get off almost half of his charge already. And he's just continuing the pressure. The onslaught, forcing GEEKSTAR to really just play defensively here.
Oh, they're losing so much space. This is the area from Junkertown the defense need to hold with everything they can. That's their biggest advantage, but they've already been just displaced and dispersed from how aggressive Junggu has been playing. This has been different from Ion. Speaking of which, you finally get an EMP, but not from Edison this time. You're actually seeing the Sombra Goats and the Sombra from Yumwon.
Just a sustained battle here, and already it's Gabolshi actually dropping his ultimate, but still back and forth as Nano Boost invested from Fielder. That could be enough to swing the fight.
And speaking of efficiency again, EMP drop, but not even a clean fight win from GEEKSTAR, who actually drop it at the very end. Swaps to D.Va as soon as he dies, and now you're going to see some clean goats v goats, but with an Ana, gotta watch out for who's Nano coming up too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw Fielder able to swing a fight in their favor off the back of a Nano Boost there. Well, GEEKSTAR have that same opportunity now, and if they utilize it correctly, they could set up an opportunity for Leo to lay down the hammer should they need that extra little bit of oomph, that extra little bit of pressure and control to make sure that they're able to win this fight.
And on the offense, I mean, you can't set up your Ana in a safe spot. They go with Fielder on the Zen now, giving the Nano to Leo, who pushes aggressively forward, finds at least one with the Shatter. The shield is blocked, or at least the shield is broken from Jungkook, who counters with his own Shatter. It's just absolute chaos, and GC Busan are just barely holding on to any space. The Solar Shatter onto Leo, you will take that twice on Sundays. They clear out the fight from GEEKSTAR. Man, that was scrappy. Ultimate's gone from both sides.
The GC Busan Wave also coming away with this, you know, pretty hefty advantage in this now, as long as they can stay alive long enough to get their Transcendence up and ready to combat the Graviton that's going to come down from GEEKSTAR. If they get that up, they'll be able to out-sustain GEEKSTAR in this next fight and win it without having to utilize any of their offensive options from Edison, Ritz, and Jonggu.
Well, the grab will be coming in from GEEKSTAR. Oh, but Leo gets stunned and he's under fire, under pressure. Great finish already. GC Busan Wave without even an ultimate invested. GEEKSTAR could have won this fight off of grabs and off of ultimates that they had advantages of. But point B for GC Busan Wave.
This has been some of the most consistent pressure we've seen from GC Busan Wave throughout this entire series, and GC Busan Wave now really just playing off of the fact that they are able to continue pushing this momentum forward time and time again. They're not utilizing ults that they don't have to use, and they have so many options fight to fight that they just don't have to invest to get the Ws.
I mean, GC Busan Wave are winning these fights early. Look at these picks onto the high ground, taking care of the support and the Lucio, in fact, so GEEKSTAR can't even engage with at least some speed, give them some advantage. This has been tough. GC Busan Wave have not been stopped at all.
Not at all, and GEEKSTAR have to at least survive long enough to get an opportunity to drop their Graviton, get their combo out from their D.Va as well. Otherwise, they're just going to get completely run over time and time again. GC Busan Wave just on the uptake so quick, able to get those picks fight after fight after fight.
Well, Yumwon has to go up there and contest Edison. He's getting so much free poke damage. He already has the grab, so you don't have to worry about that. But you got to displace him. You got to get rid of the poke damage coming out, and the Graviton from Gabolshi finally self-destruct kind of misses. It got stuck on the ledge, and even with these ultimate investments, it's Ritz who claps back with his self-destruct. GC Busan Wave have even used their own grab and their own ultimates, and they still have some left to spare for the final meter push for the end of Junkertown.
We'll see GC Busan Wave. Look at that time bank that they have. A contest coming from GEEKSTAR's Assassin actually going over to the Doomfist, but everybody's just getting ripped to pieces. GC Busan Wave, they're like untouched right now.
Edison is untouchable. Edison is such a carry factor. He can keep all this energy, laser down GEEKSTAR. His positioning has been absolute as well. GEEKSTAR, we've only seen one round of ultimates from them, and that was at that fight.
Yeah, that was just a complete, I mean, they literally just ran them over, right? They just literally ran them over. You can see how GC Busan Wave was able to just play so effectively, always getting the picks that they needed. And even when they did have to invest combos, like we just saw in this replay here, you know, they're still able to solidify these fights despite GEEKSTAR trying to counter some of those options being thrown out. So 3 minutes and 8 seconds, their time bank, a very, very solid time bank to have. And now it's GEEKSTAR's turn to attack. And if things look like their defense, they're going to struggle to get through this map.
That's a big struggle. That is a big struggle. 3 minutes, man. And GEEKSTAR, I mean, they've been It was kind of close on King's Row, right? They had some stops
Yeah.
against GC Busan Wave, but the momentum that GC just took and ran with it, there wasn't a single stop from the defense. Even when they had ults, it was whether it was maybe Waffle or who that got picked off first. Leo kind of backed up against the corner. You've been seeing GC Busan Wave on the back of Junggu, who just came in for a map 4. He probably just woke up from a nap. He's been playing way more aggressive than Ion.
Yeah, and they're just trying to do as much as they can when he's doing that too. I mean, as he does get more aggressive, really it's just off the back of just some really solid fire strikes that have come out and not been dealt with. I mean, we're not seeing them, eaten or buried or anything like that. So Junggu has these huge advantages. What a pick again to come out as we see the snipers from GC Busan Wave really going for that pick play. I mean, they have the Ana and Daydream on the hog as well. I mean, everybody is here to just provide picks.
Delight's like, I'm out of break jail.
Well,
I'm gonna be popping some heads. I mean, they wanted to run this comp on the offense and then swap to their goats, but GEEKSTAR know there's a lot on the line here. A map win matters so much for their map differential. It could mean they just clutch that last playoff spot for 2 and 5, which it's really back and forth between these two Huns. There's not really much else going on for the moment.
And this definitely favors GC Busan Wave when things are looking like this, especially if Delight can get back quickly. But as this map opens up a little bit, we're going to see more and more opportunities for picks to come out from the defense. You see things like that as well. If Waffle gets hooked, he's as good as dead if Fielder can land the biotic to follow up with.
Yeah, and that's great to have the Ana, especially for this halt and hook. Okay, Daydream not surviving that one as GEEKSTAR setting up on the payload, but they have Assassin backing them up also in the corners on the flanks. They will break through the more tough choke of point A, but GC Busan will be coming back with one last fight. But I mean, Jungkook's sticking on the Arista, which kind of takes them a while to get back.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough to get a retake there too, but if they can win the fight through picks and get Jungkook into position from the high ground, it's okay, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I mean, these sniper battles are going the way of GEEKSTAR for the time being.
And there was a bit of a flank. I guess GC Busan Wave had some people, their snipers in the back. And they didn't find necessarily the picks, and they had to now see if they can take it back. But because they got staggered, they don't have their full 6, and GEEKSTAR will get the point A.
They're able to solidify that with a lot of time still on the clock, and I like the swaps that they made, going over to the double sniper to combat GC Busan Wave, able to do quite a lot with it, and Assassin living up to his name in a big way, able to find some picks alongside Yumwan, but they have to continue this performance. They have to, just keep putting out the pressure because it's still that same kind of mirror comp that's coming out from both these teams.
Great Dragon Strike from Delight, splits the front line from the supports. A bit of a whole hog from Daydream. But now you see GC Busan Wave, they're occupying the high ground. They're trying to collapse onto GEEKSTAR. Mid-Valkyrie now, so they have a bit of a healing advantage. But now, because of the Supercharger, Junggu and the rest have the damage advantage. Self-destruct past the Orisa shield. It's rid of at least the Supercharger, but you force Leo out of position, which again, great defensive setup from GC Busan Wave.
Yeah, I think that was so important, just forcing Leo out of position, as you said, because, you get him out from behind that shield, and as soon as that Orisa is down, as soon as the shield is down as well, in an instant, you can swing that fight in your favor. So really, really solidly played from GC Busan Wave, and really Daydream to push the envelope a little bit. But here we see Assassin with an off angle, looking for... He missed against Edison! No! You can't have that happen!
I mean, why is he there anyway? But, I mean, that'd have been nice. That'd have been nice. No mercies anymore. So, I mean, there's no potential for either team.
I mean, that's one of those, like, if he got the kill and he gets away, then that was an insane play and he's a god. But if it doesn't work out, which is like 80% of the time, then that was a bad play and he stinks. So, I mean, that's just the unfortunate fact of the matter. That's how people perceive that play.
Widows are too damn skinny. Hitbox too damn small. That's my excuse usually. But great Dragon Strike down the corridor. Kind of actually forces them to not be able to back up as much, to take the fight face to face. And GC Busan Wave, although they're keeping the Orisa, you would think this would give more of a close range advantage to GEEKSTAR, but their issue is that they can't close that distance.
Oh, we're seeing Delight just take these duels, but GC Busan Wave, I mean, they have done so well in this position on the map, and GEEKSTAR, they just had to swap. They have to make sure that they're going to be able to get some value here. And I like the timing of it. I think, you know, as soon as GC Busan Wave gets high ground, you can't play the battle of the double sniper. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen it fail time and time again. Have to make the swap, have to get up to the high ground, have to force them off of that position and start getting aggressive once you're able to build up some ultimates. But make sure you have combos available, or else you will not catch enough people to swing the fight in your favor.
Well, if you kill Fielder, I mean, the fight is done. You're running 3 supports on the offense versus 1 of an Ana, who can only heal 1 target at once. Whole Hog, though, will protect her and the rest of the team. Gets stunned out of it. Did receive the nano for some extra chunky power, but GC Busan Wave holding their ground quite literally on the high ground for GEEKSTAR. I mean, they're just trying to get on the payload and move it. Now moving to the high ground to dislodge them, but Ritz and the Dragon Strike also from Delight is just making it impossible for GEEKSTAR to do anything.
Yeah, they're just using so much of this defensively to make sure that they can kite away from GEEKSTAR as they get aggressive and jump in. But GEEKSTAR, you know, they were able to find value without really too much investment. Well, hey, now they have the ability to invest some of their ultimates in this next fight as they do build them up, especially as they're going to, you know, kind of force that high ground contest by just taking that position very early on. Although even when they take this, they still have to kind of wrap around a little bit to even get into a better spot to take the fight where GC Busan Wave now have adjusted it to.
A new position, spicing things up, making it difficult for GEEKSTAR to close the distance, who are just focusing on the payload, but they're getting hit by bullets from all angles. At least Edison is down, who had to take up the sniper duel, using the Transcendence, trying to keep GEEKSTAR alive, who used the grab again. The efficiency isn't always there with GEEKSTAR. That is their issue in these fights. You think all the check marks of the ultimates means GEEKSTAR wins, but then they use it and nothing happens.
Well, Daydream is just waiting for an opportunity to just get into close range and ult, but he actually gets taken down. GEEKSTAR still in this fight as the Dragon Strike comes out. Edison needs to find some picks here.
Oh, and not against a Brigida, you won't. But GEEKSTAR at least looking down the barrel of point B. GC Busan Wave maybe throwing some bodies. Oh, that body got yeeted out of space. But hey, it finally took them this long to get right here. 1.5 minutes now to get to the end of point C. See what GC Busan Wave can respond with. They are changing their comp slightly.
So best case scenario, you're at a massive time bank disadvantage, but now you have to really focus on being effective, being efficient with your ultimates, making sure that you take advantage of the fact that GC Busan Wave swapped late now. So really you want to take these next 2 fights as aggressively as you can, force them off the high ground. You've already done that, so now just take that advantage.
Yeah, and dislodging GC Busan Wave from the high ground is big, but not when your main tank is dead. And the barrier came so late from Waffle. That did it. Not having the value he was looking for. And now because they use it, they're trying to get value out of this fight in general, but they're just losing bodies because they have no shield. And they even use the Transcendence. Why? They lost Waffle anyway.
They're still getting a couple of kills. They have to make sure that they're able to get this finished and completed here. And now it seems like they are going to be able to find the kills, but they have to start thinking about this next fight. They have to start thinking about what they have available, because with what they invested just to get to this stage, they now have 1 fight left that they have to win, and maybe even a stall at that, and they don't have the combo that they need to be able to close things out. So everything rests on Leo's shoulders yet again.
Yeah, this has to be the biggest shatter, and GC Busan Wave are ready for it. They're all centered down the middle, trying to get behind Jungkook, who has his own shatter. The bigger shatter will define this. He gets the diva down. No response quite yet, but Edison getting closer to his grab, and a bigger shatter comes out from Jungkook, trying to clean the floor with GEEKSTAR. Not happening quite yet. It's in overtime now. GEEKSTAR moving forward with the rally. They did lose Gabe Bolshi Mech, and now using their own grav, or at least Edison's grav, feeding into this high energy has been able to accumulate as Leo is sent downtown and also back to the spawn room as GEEKSTAR are running out of options, running out of members. GC Busan Wave just cleaning up the last few support, or well, Waffle also on the emergency Doomfist, but they will be securing the 4-0 victory over GEEKSTAR. And GEEKSTAR, it's not looking too bright if you're a fan for them being in playoffs.
Yeah, not fortunate today, not fortunate at all. But for GC Busan Wave, a team that has come so close and yet fallen so short. I mean, we saw them in week 1, 2-3 to O2 Blast, week 2, 2-3 to Gen G as well. We've seen them take maps off of Element Mystic and Runaway. well, they're now in a good position to find their way into the playoffs and have some opportunities to get some rematches against those teams that they were just oh so close to.
I did like the addition of Jungkook. I think that brought a level of aggression that they were
Yeah.
definitely looking for, but I don't think they were really ready for Edison and Delight on the double sniper that held them off at point A and point B, even with the Orisa for quite some time. And Leo, I mean, was stuck on the right. I mean, usually he plays the Winston, kind of swaps it up, but I felt he had such a hard time leading the team into these fights.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at this from the perspective of, the playoff patch, Leo goes Winston, you have the effectiveness of the Winston, incredibly heightened because of the fact that Winston got those buffs against armored targets with the dot-based weapon that he has. So yeah, every single time we'll see Leo go Winston, but on this patch, things are a little bit different. It's a little bit more of a struggle to get your Ryan into position, and you do, of course, want to play Ryan more often than not in these cases. Although it really just comes down to that high ground control. And GC Busan, time and time again, whether it be on Horizon, whether it be on point B of Junkertown, they constantly had it. This is where GEEKSTAR had the best shot here, though. There's no high ground control available for GC Busan, and and GEEKSTAR are able to do things when that is the fact, when they're able to take things 1-to-1 and put Leo into positions where he can make plays alongside Gabolshi.
What's They're trying to inject aggression directly into Leo. Like they're nanoing him, and when I get nanoed, I just start screaming and holding down my W key, which you would
Can
think that
confirm.
would be what Leo is doing. Yeah, can confirm. That's why I'm still in gold. But I felt they used the nano to save him, and then you saw even in that first clip of the replay how he disengaged. He was such a passive main tank, and in a goats meta, you need to take those risks because without risks, you will never get rewards.
Yeah, and it's still such of a such a struggle as well because a lot of times GC Busan Wave, they're playing the Sombra as well. So when you see that Nano come out and he starts going for those swings, he's opening himself up to get hacked. Then he's not able to actually go for charges or keep his shield up and block counter shatters to lay him down and be able to uh, allow their team to outlast the nano boost because the Reinhardt's on the floor. So it's a little bit of a struggle. It's basically a line that you have to kind of walk ever so finely on, or else you'll fall off one way or the other. And Leo was just trying to strut that a little bit, and at times it's again very tough. Although Gibolshi, I think, had some really clutch plays throughout the day. GEEKSTAR, they
Mhm.
fall short, but not without a couple of really solid performances from their team.
Yeah, you bring up a good point that he was probably playing that or safe or passive
Yeah,
because of Edison, but that's where your trust in your teammates come in, right? And being a team
yeah.
since season 3, GEEKSTAR, they have to rely on Yumwam or Gabe Bolshi, whoever on the Diva, to do that spy checking, to be the one who puts pressure onto Edison. And a bright spot for me on GEEKSTAR was Waffle. I think on Lunar Colony, he was really responsible for displacing everyone from the high ground as he should have.
Yeah, sometimes we saw GEEKSTAR, yeah, they got caught a couple of times. They really struggled in situations where GZ Busan Wave had control of high ground. We saw it on Kings Row, we saw it on Horizon, we saw it on Point B of Junkertown. But realistically, we need to see GEEKSTAR make those rotations very quickly, get into position, allow Waffle to do what he does, and then play off of the fact that once things go to level ground, GEEKSTAR, they're a pretty solid team. We saw them contest against GC Busan Wave at level ground pretty well a few times, even when things went to double sniper in that first stage versus GC Busan Wave on Junkertown. It was only until high ground came into a big factor for GC Busan Wave that GEEKSTAR really got shut down.
Yeah, and Gabe Bolshi also ate a lot of grabs, which is a tide turner for GEEKSTAR. And I think that because they struggle and spend so much time at point B for Junkertown, just their whole energy of being down, you lost the series already, you don't have as much drive to maybe finish out the final map. But I think I'd like to see some improvements from the front line of GEEKSTAR in terms of their aggression, matching the aggression, but also they will most likely not be into playoffs, but I think it was a pretty solid showing from and some bright spots from the team. But we still have another match to go, guys. And this is a big one. Gen G Esports versus WGS Armament. We're going to throw it to a quick break. When we get back, the final match of day one, the final week.